live on Earth. Hopefully. Uh, you're a little tiny person on a really big world. Not really, though. It's not really that big. The Earth is in a solar system, and that solar system is in a galaxy, and so on and so forth until you reach the end, the border of all. Ankur will be there, sitting at the headwaters of the Ichor flow, which is like a trickle from a trickle of a trickle of a trickle of a drop of spiritual energy that feeds life in our universe. The flow is described in Unshackle as a slow-moving gelatin of forms, humanoid and not. Ankur and his brethren sit and guard this river against would-be attackers or unworthy sojourners who manage to make their way to it. The brethren, it seems, live inside this river and can wield, quote, an object that I could not correctly perceive the dimensions of, ever shifting and changing with the creature's every movement. Beyond that is interlitoral space. Now, you're probably wondering what that is. It's space between Litora. What's a Litora, you ask, and I will correct you by saying, what are Litora, because it's plural. Imagine a beach. Beaches are sandy. There's a lot of grains of sand, and if you look closely, you will see inside of one of these, our universe. Wait, our universe isn't a grain of sand, and to that I'd say, imagine, like I've already said. So if our universe is a grain of sand, in a beach full of sand, what does that mean? Every single one of these are universes, not parallel but separate universes. So that's what the Litora are, I hear you query, and you would be wrong. Because where are beaches? On planets, and planets are like Earth, and Earth's in a universe, and that means this beach is in its own universe. So this beach holding all these universes of sand is in its own universe, which itself is a grain of sand on another beach in another universe, and here's a better way to visualize it. Say we have 1 trillion grains of sand. We don't know how many grains there are, but it's finite. So let's just use this number as a stand-in. There's 1 trillion on one layer, or lattice, and there are also 1 trillion going up and going down. These two regions of Litora are named the Macro-Litora and Micro-Litora, and while we may use size to compare them, it's rather a compromise by our human mind to perceive such existences, so think of them as going towards some direction. These two regions are themselves divided into sections, 6 for each, or rather 1 for the micro. The macro isn't so structured, and borders, as they could be called, are very fluid. The macro and micro are split between two concepts, that of beauty and horror. As you traverse through the Macro-Litora, the beings and existences that lie therein will become more and more pleasing to the eye, celestial and symmetrical, angelic even, until in the final layers existence cannot even be comprehended by our minds anymore. The Micro-Litora is precisely the opposite. Things become more horrid and fetid as you delve into its depths. Contrary to the popular belief held by many scholars such as Dendronus and Indiran, there are no morality borders between these two regions. One could be tempted to think that, but it's not true. What is true is that the things that dwell inside each region, become more diametrically opposed morally as you approach the edge. For instance, John Doe is a citizen of the Hadalic Litora and is among the ugliest and most repulsive creatures to have ever existed. Regardless of his appearance, he's a family man who loves his wife and 15 children, and is excited by the prospect of becoming a grandfather. He works on a farm and tends to the Abandu daily. Though he has failed in life, he has never lied, nor ever could. This is a rather simple example, but as one approaches the edge, evil and good become more pronounced, and there are fewer gray areas or complex emotions in sapient beings, until these creatures become little more than animals, only living to eat, drink, and reproduce. This is because the Litora are anathema to entropy, constantly growing more complex. Eventually, our lattice will be split in two by the next one growing inside of its center, which is both tended and guarded by the medians, which are another topic entirely. Outside of the Litora is limbo, also known as limbonic space, the black swaths, the extracta, the voidal region, etc., which is the space between contained existence. Immediately above the Litora is Trobosia, the never-ending labor, and all-mother. And somewhere below is Natnayuk, the leech, the besmirchment, orange one, the orifice, etc. These two govern the two regions respectively as deities, but their entire deal and deific politics are a subject for another video. You'll see me use a lot of quotations here, as the concepts we use to define their actions are not exact to the nature of those words, which we can only glimpse as far as their actual desires most of the time. You can't really understand a lot of the things they do. Above Troboja is the city of Hronguren, a place where gods dwell and have formed countless cultures and family branches since Xam's creation of all. The actual specifics of its structure haven't been revealed in the books as of yet, but what is known is that there's a temple for the worship of gods above gods, from which they send up incense from a great censer. This implies higher realms, which there are, but concrete knowledge hasn't been discovered in the universe or published. Below Notniuk is Ifainu, within which is Olfasu, a self-contained existence similar to ours in that it follows similar laws of physics and can be comprehended by our minds. People and creatures from this region raid the Litora and take hostages or resources, while others simply wish to settle. Both practices have not been seen for millions of years, as their height was during the Beliotolic era, and when Belial fell asleep on Yan, the Silent Ages began. According to Tendranus, there are places below Ifainu. He records a place called the Ungulatory Dominion, and another named the Red Realm. As for whether you believe Tendranus' highly biased opinion of most things, I leave it up to the unfortunate reader of any of his writings. This is essentially the nuclear structure of Xam's existence. There are many more places and crevices not mentioned here, and a comprehensive list is possible, but probably wouldn't be enjoyable to watch. In any case, next time I'll cover the story of creation told by the Medians.